Hey guys, welcome back. It's Wednesday, and we are going to do our devotional reading now out of the Tozer book and the meditation of the Holy Trinity. And I decided to add this one in with it. It's not really, it's not always Bible passages, but it's just like really good thoughts from C.S. Lewis. And I thought you guys might be a little bit more interested in this one than the Tozer book. So, I don't know. We're just going to read them together. God has no origin. In the beginning, you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. Psalm 102:25. God, you probably can't see this, but I felt like it was more fun than me reading like this. God is a self-existent selfhood. Novation, the church father said, God has no origin, just these 4 words. God has no origin would be an education to the average person. Origin, you see, is a creature word. Everything came from somewhere. One of the questions that every child asks is, where did I come from? Everything has an origin. Where you heard a bird sing, you know that once that little bird was packed in a little egg. It came from somewhere. It came from an egg. Where did the egg come from? It came from a little bird. And that little bird came from another little egg. And that egg came from another bird. And so on, back and back and back to the heart of God when God said, let the heavens bring forth, let the earth bring forth, let the dry land appear. As it says in Genesis 1. Origin is a creature word. The trees had an origin, space has an origin, the mountains, the seas, all things have an origin. But when you come back to God, you come back to the one who has no origin. He is the cause of all things, the uncaused cause. I worship you today, Lord, as the great creator, the uncaused cause behind my very existence. Amen. So that's actually one of the theological arguments for the existence of God is an uncaused cause. And then we're going to read from C.S. Lewis. So today is April the 1st, so I'm going to get there. And this is from the Screwtape Letters that he wrote. So some of these books might not be super familiar to you guys, but yeah. Humility, the right end. Screwtape continues his examination of the virtue of humility. To anticipate the enemy's strategy, we must consider his aims. The enemy wants to bring the man to a state of mind in which he could design the best cathedral in the world, and know it to be the best, and rejoice in the fact without being any more or less, or otherwise glad, or having done it would be if it had done by another. The enemy wants him in the end to be so free from any bias of his own favor that he rejoices in his talents as frankly and gratefully as his neighbor's talents, or in a sunrise, or an elephant, or waterfall. He wants each man, in the long run, to be able to recognize all creatures, even himself, as glorious and excellent as all things. He wants to kill their animal self-love as soon as possible, but in his long-term policy, I fear to restore to them a new kind of self-love, a charity and gratitude of all selves, including their own. When they have really learned to love their neighbors as themselves, they will be allowed to love themselves as their neighbors. For we must never forget what is the most repellent and inexplicable trait in the enemy. He really loves the hairless bipeds he has created and always gives back to them with his right hand what he's taken from his left. From the Screwtape Letters. So in Screwtape, the enemy is actually God because it's written from the C.S. Lewis wrote it from a position or like as if he was a demon. So the enemy is actually God. But anyway, I thought this would just kind of be a fun little add-in. So see you guys tomorrow.